Alright guys, so we have another entry for the Public Servant Behaving Badly series that we're doing. This is a video that I believe I've shown on the channel before, but there is now an update. I'm going to show 10 minutes of the incident because I want the context, and then I will go into what just came down within, I want to say, the last week.
Okay.
Exactly. Rip my friggin' chain off.
Fucking assholes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it all on camera.
All right.
Turns out she wasn't lying. The neighbors do have it all on camera.
Hey, step.
They're drunk.
Okay, well,
their stuff is over here. His cigar and her cigar.
Okay, I see.
They fucking left over there.
You're gonna step back.
I called because these guys parked their cars on everybody's, all four cars. Right. City vehicle on their driveway, my driveway.
They fucking,
So I call the cops.
they're no good.
They come out.
Okay. He started it. So I'm not listening to a bunch of yelling. We'll talk calmly over here.
He started it.
Okay.
Started with the truck.
That's fine.
Wait,
So,
can I just ask you this? Is that blocking his driveway?
No.
That truck right there? Okay, I didn't think so.
Okay,
Thanks.
so
Because that's why
I
they
was
came
saying,
running.
they on the porch and they stop and says that our fucking truck is in their driveway. This and that. I says our fucking truck is in their driveway. They came across the street here, pushed my husband.
Not came, they
she
came running.
She came running. She literally.
so what was the first thing that they said?
Wait till my son hears what
Ma'am, if you don't stop yelling, this is gonna be a problem for you.
I don't care.
Okay, cool. Then get over here.
You're not gonna arrest me.
I sure fucking am.
My son, no. You're not.
We are not doing this right now. We are not doing this right now.
No, it's
Push
okay.
it, motherfucker.
Alright, that guy's why we're here. That's the public official behaving badly. Now, that was Judge Mark Granti and his wife. I'm probably butchering his last name. But Mark's villain arc starts in 2008, where he ran for state senate of New York and lost. He ran again in 2010 and won. Ran again in 2014 and was defeated by another candidate. But this is where the juicy bit comes in. In 2015, he was appointed to the New York State Court of Claims by the governor. In 2018, he started serving as the acting justice for the New York State Supreme Court for the 8th Judicial District. The incident that I just showed was from 2020, and as of 2021, he was under investigation by the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct with connection to that incident, and we finally got an update, which was basically nothing. We're going to watch Nate the Lawyer. That's inspired me to do this. He's been just on point with his videos lately, so if you go over there, give him a like, subscribe, tell him I sent you. His video came up this morning, and I'm like, oh shit, I remember that incident. Yeah. Mark Granti basically got nothing, and the news kind of ran with it to tell everyone why. The video's not good for him. We're going to continue watching that for another few minutes, and then we'll jump into the news.
You better get off the fucking
Let him
white.
arrest me. I don't care.
Go.
Come on, take
You're
me.
going in the back of the car
I
and
will.
we can deal with this.
No, you have no idea the shit that we
Okay.
can't put up with.
Okay, put your hands behind your
I
back or
will.
we are gonna have a problem. Put your hands behind your back.
Hey.
No,
You arrest my fucking wife, you're gonna be sorry.
I don't care. Let him. Let him
My
fucking
son
do
and my
it.
daughter both
I
my
don't
son.
care.
Now remember, at the time of this incident, this guy's already been sitting on the New York Supreme Court for 2 years. You can't say, officer, you're going to be sorry if you hold my wife accountable for her actions. You can't say that. And then, right off the bat, on top of threatening the officer, say, oh yes, and my son and daughter are cops. First off, that has no bearing on the situation, but you can't say that either.
I don't
Okay.
care. If it gets you pieces of
Take
shit
a
out of here,
seat.
I
I'm so done listening to you scream.
will. Why? Because it's the truth. It's fucking.
No,
15
because
years
I
of
want to hear
bullshit.
everybody talk.
15 years of
I want
bullshit.
everybody's story.
You're hearing them first. You
I'm
don't
gonna
understand. Ask any neighbor.
That doesn't mean I'm not gonna listen to you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you have to say.
They're too tight.
I want to hear what you have to say. But you are screaming it.
Loosen these.
I want to hear it.
So just for those people who are complaining, why did she go in cuffs? It's because she put hands on her neighbors and was actively trying to escalate the situation.
Okay, one more time. From the top.
Okay, so what happened is that these are our cars, but
Yeah.
but these neighbors, these neighbors seem to have a problem when we park on the street. I don't know what the problem is. We're not in their driveway, so
I came out of the porch to sit, which I do every nightly, and they turned around and started, and Mark started to say, do I have a problem with your fucking trucks in my fucking driveway? I says, the truck is not in your driveway.
Okay.
And she says, you're a fat fuck, you're miserable, you're nothing but a fat fuck, which she's called me that many times. And then my husband came out and was like, what's going on, stop. They
started coming at me and threw a shot at me.
They came this way, they came running over, and then, and then Maria pushed and hit her in the face.
She bit my arm here.
Yeah, I see
She
that.
did.
Okay,
She
so
did.
that was her?
And so
Yeah.
I came up and I says, don't touch my husband, get off of my husband. And so then she hit me, I defended myself, and I was in a bad accident, so my sister knows that I have a bad back and 2 knee braces. She just called me wobbly, you fucking fat fuck, this, that.
Well,
Then Mark,
They're no good trouble, mate.
and then
Okay, well, he might have to go too then.
and then
They're no
and
good trouble,
they're-
mate. So was she right here.
and-
They got their nose and
Yes.
everything.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, I want to talk to you as well, so give me a minute.
So
There's a lot. That's their friends.
So they always team up on us. So obviously you can see that they're drunk. They're trying to come at me again, and my sister says, don't touch my sister. Don't touch me. Get away from my sister. So
I know jiu-jitsu, so I'm trying to restrain her.
She's trying to restrain her in a jiu-jitsu
from
way.
behind her, try to just restrain her. I wasn't punching her. I was just trying to
and
restrain
there's
her.
evidence because they came over
Yeah,
here.
their stuff
their
is
stuff
here.
and their
I
cigar.
see that.
There's stuff in the cigar.
Okay, so
And so then it got in the middle of the street.
so let me ask you this, because I'm going to talk to them. I like I said, I want everybody's side of the story. I want it said to me. So, as far as this goes, I kind of have a guess as to what they're going to tell me.
They're gonna, and yeah.
But so here's what I'm
excuse
going to
me,
ask.
just 1 minute.
Sure.
Right away, this is what they do. They throw around that the daughter's a cop, the son-in-law's a cop, this and that.
Yeah, this whole neighborhood's cops. I live here.
And so then it always gets turned against us somehow or some way because they pull all their weight.
Okay.
So
So
I'm sure they made a phone call.
That
and-
doesn't matter to me at all. I've arrested officers' families before. I'm not happy about that, but it happens.
Yeah.
You can't use that as
and,
immunity.
you know,
So what I'm asking though is, ideal situation, what happens here?
ideal situation.
Well, she bit my arm.
Okay, do you want her arrested?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Sure,
what
she
I'm
went
asking.
at my wife and hit my wife
Okay,
first.
that's
I do.
what I'm asking. I
Yeah.
want to make sure
Yeah.
before
She
we.
swung first and so did he.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Angry Meme Review.
I'm.
half of the story from her.
Yeah, I want their half of the story as well.
Because he's irate and he's
She started mouthing off, so she went in cuffs.
Where do they live?
There. They're probably both gonna end up going. Just as a heads up. I want to hear what they have to say first, but I don't see it not being that way. So yes, that is the YouTuber known as Angry Cops. He is an officer and he is a supervisor for this situation. In my opinion, in my humblest opinion, I believe that is partially why this got as much media coverage as it did and why people still care about it 4 years later. I believe he had said something about it. Donut Operator showed the whole video and pointed out that Angry Cops was in the video. And again, that was 4 years ago and it's still relevant today because, in my opinion, they covered it. Now, I'm going to keep watching some of the body cam video with you guys because the judge is ultimately going to get put in cuffs, and that's where, again, in my opinion, just like the DA from New York again, he should have lost his job. Everything that he has to do, he should have stepped down. He literally put hands on an officer. Some would call it assault, some would call it battery. Anybody else would have gotten arrested and charged for it, but because he's this judge, he magically got off, which they're going to talk about. We're going to keep watching the video because he talks out of his ass, and that's why he's ultimately put in cuffs.
So he goes to second so we can talk to you?
Yeah, I'm talking to my daughter who's a police officer.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Ashley Amoya.
I don't know
Dave
who that
Cole.
You have 3 police officers. You want to hear a side of the story?
Hi, Luciano. I don't know, you got officers Mollahan, I don't know who these guys are, but Maria's in the back of the car.
Where does your daughter work for?
She's in B District. My
Bravo?
son's in C District.
Okay.
Gamalia's my cousin.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, that's probably not...
All right, look, Ash, let me call you back. Let me tell them exactly what happened, because all the neighbors are out here, and they could verify everything. There's like 7 neighbors out here. All right. I come home. I called first I called D District. I said, listen, there's a car. They do this all the time. They block in the driveways.
Is
All
it
4 of
just
these
like
cars-
this?
Yeah, all 4 of these cars are theirs.
Okay.
All 4 of them across the street are theirs. And you can see how much room they have. They edge in the driveway. Nobody lets them in the street. They don't like anybody. So they edge in the driveway as close as they can. So I called up and I said, listen, a little tight for me getting in. He was like, ignore it. I go, a little tight getting in. Can you come down, go across the street, knock on the door, tell them to move the truck? They're from New Jersey. I'm not going to give them a friggin', I don't want to give them a ticket.
So we watched earlier when they were talking to, let's call them the victims across the street. They turned around. You saw a great view of where their car was parked in, combination with the driveway that it was allegedly blocking. It was not blocking it. They're probably edging as close as they can to that driveway, so they're not blocking the entire front of the street.
So I'm walking. So there's a way to walk the dog. We walk the dog. We come back. I pull the dog in the house. She goes across the street. I come out. The two girls and Joe are like in their face. So I come walking across the street. He goes, "Oh, you want to go? You want to go?" Something? I'm no, Joe. And I'm bringing Maria back. In favor of the camera, he friggin' whacks me, like just pushes me backward.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. I friggin' back up. I'm grabbing her. They start walking across the street. Naturally, she's a girl. She's going after the girls. I'm pulling her back. He comes over and he friggin' whacks me, slaps me across the face.
Okay.
So I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? You ripped my friggin' necklace off. Okay. So I friggin' push him. He comes after me. I move out of the way. He falls in my driveway. That's why I always got the bruise on it. He falls in my driveway. He gets up. He starts leaving. We're going our separate ways. The girls start fighting again. I grab my wife. We pull her back. The neighbors come out. They're like, are you kidding me? The one neighbor down here is like, listen, you got to ignore them. Nobody likes them. That's what they do all the time. We didn't do nothing. We basically walked the dog, came back, and they come out of the house. They're like, you got an effing problem where the truck is parked?
The other lady already said that she sits on her porch nightly. Okay, cool. If you didn't do anything, how come it ended up with your wife biting the neighbor in his own yard? If you were just minding your business, you would have stayed in your house, in your own yard. Turns out, parking in front of someone else's house isn't illegal. It's public property. Anybody could park in front of your house.
No, I heard that when I was taking the dog in the house.
Okay.
My wife was still outside. She walked over. She goes, yeah, move the truck. They friggin' bolt from the porch. The girl's got her friggin' hand on my wife's throat, and that's when I walked over there. And that's when it all started.
Okay.
I mean, are you friggin' kidding me? They can't wait to start trouble. Talk to any... Those two neighbors with the dogs don't live on the street, they know. Mm-hmm. Yellow knows. These guys know. He knows. The guy that was just here knows. Mm-hmm. They can't wait to start problems. Okay? And listen, I'm good friends with Byron Brown. He's like, always Mark, just friggin' ignore him. I did ignore him. I called and said, the truck is friggin' blocking half the driveway. And then when we come back, that's how it is. Mm. I'm talking like this, can friggin' punch me in the face. And I'm getting a fat lip. So, but I wouldn't have my friggin' shirt ripped like this. He friggin' tore this shirt, grabbing me, and friggin' ripped my necklace off.
Okay.
Okay, like I'm fighting the guy.
Okay.
I mean, I walked over to grab Maria. He goes, "Oh, you want to go, tough guy?" I'm like, "No, Joe, take it away." Boom, and push.
So let me ask you this: two questions. First off, is how do we prevent something like this in the future?
Oh, dude, it's never gonna end.
Okay.
With these two, everybody, they start. Next week will be with them.
Okay.
I'm
going to ask some of these people because I want some
trust me.
because I'm sure you understand.
Get around in the car and I'll bring her inside. And I didn't mean to tackle you, but I mean you kind of threw my wife down on the ground pretty hard, and I don't appreciate that.
I understand that.
All right, I really don't. If I would do that to your wife and you're outside, you do the same thing.
Sure. If you were a police officer and she was screaming in my face.
No, my daughter's a police officer, and I know what you guys are going through right now. And trust me, my daughter's a police officer, my son-in-law's a police officer, my
and if someone was screaming at your daughter and approaching her like that, she would have done the same thing.
No, you grabbed my wife from over there and dragged her over here, which was not necessary. Okay. So you need to chill out about that.
I have a camera, so it's all documented.
I don't care about your camera. Just give it a little constructive criticism, dude.
Okay.
Okay?
Let me give you some constructive criticism. You want to drop another copper's name? You want to scream about, Molly or the mayor? How about you shut the fuck up? And you keep that quiet. Shut your goddamn mouth. Put your hands behind your back. Listen. Put your hands behind your back. You want to be difficult? You want to say I know all these coppers, I know all these things? You want to make us look dirty? Is that what you want to do? So how am I helping you now? Tell me, how can I help you? Shut up and let me talk to you, you old geezer. Shut up. Shut up and let me talk to you. Since you had so much to say and you touch a cop.
So let me talk to you.
Okay.
God, let me talk to you. God.
So this is the type of supervisor that I would have loved to have. He's quiet, he's calm, he lets you handle your own incident to a point. Once that judge started getting lippy with the officer, like let's be honest, they already said that they were going to arrest him anyway, but they were using their discretion to let him sit there, talk, do his thing. But the moment he escalated, all right, cool, you're going in the car now, and then they treated him like the drunk child that he was. Now, again, this is a public official behaving badly, and this is where we get into the, is there corruption, is there not corruption? So he ultimately got charged criminally with 0 things. I don't know if that's because he used all those connections that he was talking about, or if the DA, if the officers were scared to charge a sitting judge with something like that. I don't know if that's the case, but we're going to jump into the news, like I said, and see what they think.
Judge Mark Granti and his wife are now under investigation for this alleged neighborhood assault. The brawl was all caught on camera and then shared exclusively with the 7 Eyewitness News I-Team.
Then the judge yells and puts his hands on an officer.
The judge, he would hope he'd go back in time, this wouldn't have happened.
The fight between State Supreme Court Justice Mark Granti, his wife, and 2 neighbors started because of a disagreement over this parking space in front of the Granti's North Buffalo home.
They started to scream across the street about, move this effing truck. This effing truck is in our driveway. My sister's truck was legally parked. It was not in their driveway whatsoever.
All right, since the camera is staring right there at the driveway with the car allegedly parked in front of it, we can check to see if that's even accurate. Here's the car, here's the driveway, and here's the judge and his wife. It doesn't seem like that truck is parked in front of that driveway.
That's when Gina Malley, who lives across the street, saw the couple walking toward her house.
And Mark and Maria came over onto our property, into our driveway. My husband came down from the porch. Maria physically pushed my husband. She punched my husband in the face. I came off the porch, told her not to touch my husband, and she bit my husband's arm and would not release.
Malley's husband Joseph has the bruises to prove it. A black eye and bite marks. Malley has her own bruise where she says Maria Granti grabbed her.
So I left Nate the lawyer in that little portion right there because I thought it was a good thing for context to leave in. Even he agrees that that truck is not parked in that driveway like the judge and his wife claim. Also, I'm glad that they had the video of the incident as it took place just so you could see where the truck was parked. Because, yeah, if they came over, fought, and then maybe they moved the truck, sure. But this is literally in the middle of the fight. You see where the truck is parked, which is not in their driveway. Also, bruises, black eyes, and bite marks are extremely hard to fake, especially when you have a video of the fight.
Okay, I'm sorry, the Bluetooth is on. Here we go. Speaker. Okay, so there, one more try.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, okay. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright. They're saying that you pushed an officer. You wouldn't do that, would you?
You know what? He dragged Maria, when the 2 girls were on Maria, he was dragging Maria across the street and actually was taking her down on my front lawn. And I basically said, listen, just, talk to her, and I pushed him, and I said, don't friggin' tackle her, and I pushed him. I apologized to him, Mark, right after that, because I said, listen, I respect you guys in law enforcement. I go, my daughter's a police officer, my son-in-law's a police officer, all my family's police officers. I never mentioned Byron Brown's name. What we said is that the guy across the street parks the vehicle, which is a Byron Brown-owned vehicle, like he blocks driveways.
He's behind her. She's here. He's behind her. I put my arm out on his, and I should have done this, but I put my arm out on his shoulder, holding him back as I'm grabbing her by the arm, saying, I got her, she can come with me. He's like, no, she's going, she's in handcuffs. I says, this isn't proper, and I'm pushing him like this, and I'm trying to get her. And another officer came over and said, let him do his job. He got her in handcuffs. When he did that, she calmed down. I said to him, listen, I said, my daughter's a police officer, my son-in-law's a police officer. I said, I respect police. I should put my hands on you. I said, but it wasn't proper, how you were trying to take her down. She's 4 foot nothing. I said, so they made me put my hands on her. He was fine with it. Another officer came over, heard what I did. He says, "You touched a police officer," and then put the cuffs on me. No, what I apologized to is the, kind of stopping the officer from doing what he had to do. But, so I'm trying to sweep the legs of her, and she's had problems with her neck and back, or her neck and back. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I got her. I'll take her in the house. By that time, we had the cuffs on. But we were cool. Everyone was cool. And then he mentioned to someone, to one of the officers that came, what happened. He said, "Oh, you put her in on an officer." I said, "What's the matter?" I apologized, told him the meeting was, "You need to shut the fuck up," because, I'm talking right now.
That can be viewed as obstruction. We're there to perform our duties, and when someone tries to stop us from doing that,
I get it.
So I don't know, for whatever reason, this judge thinks that these officers' body cams just don't exist. Same with the DA in New York. Did she just assume that this body cam footage just wasn't going to get out? This judge seems to be making up a story as if no one else can, contradict it or debunk it. Yeah, the body cam shows exactly the opposite of what he's saying. Now we're going to get Nate, the lawyer's take on what should have happened versus what the DA in this case actually did.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this is America. That judge was charged with the crime. He assaulted 3 people. This is obviously unacceptable. But the DA said he saw no crimes on those videos. So the judge wasn't charged. Here is the DA explaining it.
I'm Scott Levin. The judge in question here is State Supreme Court Judge Mark Granti, appointed to the bench by Governor Cuomo.
Did you review the body cam footage?
The body cam footage I personally didn't review, but my deputy DA reviewed it. Okay. And it clearly showed him pushing the officer. All right.
Put his hands on him.
Yeah.
Now, usually get you arrested.
Yeah, well, the officers, for whatever reason, they decided not to file charges.
Did they know who he was?
At some point, they learned who he was. Initially, they didn't know who he was, but at some point, they learned that he was a judge.
But does that play a factor in the officer saying, "I don't want to press charges because that's a judge, I might have cases in front of this person"?
The officers used their discretion here. They decided that, no one got pushed hard, no one was knocked down, no one got hurt. They used their own discretion to decide not to press charges.
So, conspiracy time for me. I normally don't dive into conspiracies when it comes to shit like this, but I feel like the DA's office probably wink, wink, nudge, nudge one of the officers and said, hey, you probably shouldn't press charges. Obviously, if it was probably against the supervisor, angry cops, if that was the case, he probably wouldn't give 2 shits because what's the worst that could happen? But maybe he got to one of the officers. This guy, at the beginning, Nate the lawyer said, yeah, they claimed that they didn't see any criminal acts in that video, but then you watch the video and you're like, that's it. Leonardo DiCaprio sitting on the couch whistling, right there.
Here I come. Here I come.
If I would have done that, I would have been charged. If you would have done that, probably the few thousand people who view this video, you would have been charged. Why wasn't he charged?
But doesn't your office have the option of filing charges anyway?
We do, but we would never override a victim in that kind of case, though. I mean, at most, it's a harassment charge. It's not even a crime.
Hey, you arrest my wife, you're going to be sorry.
That sounds like a threat.
I can't read into what the judge meant by that or what his mindset was. He said a lot of things on camera that I found troubling. Anytime anyone who is in a position of authority who spouts off and says, I know the mayor, I know the deputy commissioner, I know this person, I know that person, that's not good either.
I guess for most folks, they take a look at it and go, he's a big shot, he got off. Big shots get off. Connected people get special favors, even in the supposedly blind justice system.
I can clearly tell those folks. There's no doubt that the optic is there that a big shot got off, okay? There's no doubt about that. That optic is there, okay? But again, I have no reason to believe that there was any mindset in the officer's mind at the time and afterward that I'm going to let this guy go because he's a big shot, because he's a judge, because I may need a favor from him in the future.
He claims to not overrule the victim in cases like this, but in my head, they've probably prosecuted a few domestic abuse cases where for the 15th time, someone got beat up and then they said, oh, well, the evidence is pretty clear. We're going to prosecute anyway. That shit happens all the time. And then at the end there, oh, well, they didn't think they needed a favor or blah, blah, blah. I don't think it was the officers. I think it was the DA's office saying, probably shouldn't mess with this guy.
Acting State Supreme Court Justice Mark Granti, the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct, has censured Granti for a confrontation he had with neighbors and police in North Buffalo back in 2020. The whole thing caught on camera. The fight began with a dispute over a parking spot in front of the Granti home. An altercation with neighbors became physical. When police got there, Granti shoved an officer and told him if he arrested his wife, he would be sorry. The commission said while he displayed poor judgment, it did not find removing him from judicial office is warranted for this single incident.
That's the video. Now we're going to jump to some articles. I went to get some articles from the New York Times. They gave me a whole spiel on their website, so I jumped over to the New York Post. The New York Post stated that he was already formally reprimanded by the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct for the 2020 incident. A judicial watchdog group explained that the administrator of that commission recommended Granti be kicked off the bench. I agree with that. 4 other members also agreed with him and voted to oust him from the bench. 6 other panelists, however, opted to give him the lighter sentence of public admonishment, which really means nothing. So he got away with assaulting an officer on camera, beating up, fighting his neighbors, his wife biting their neighbors. And they got nothing. They basically got a slap on the wrist. Let's see here. I want to say it was the New York Times, the quote that I wanted to use from there. He had 2 attorneys. And basically they said they looked at his entire lifetime of work and didn't think this one incident should override his entire lifetime of work. I don't care. You could be a saint. You could be Christ-like. This guy's 59 for 58 and a half years. But if you put hands on an officer when they're trying to cuff your wife for assaulting the neighbors, yeah, that throws that 58 and a half years out the window. I do not care. But yeah, that's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to keep trying to pepper these in if I find them. Like I said, this isn't my area to cover, but frauditors seem to ignore obvious things like this, but want to make a big deal about going and harassing someone at a post office for whatever reason. Yeah. Tomorrow should be content as usual. Have a good rest of your day.